How on earth does a team that is coming off of 2 back-to-back Super Bowl wins have one of, if not the luckiest season in NFL history? Last year, we gave credit to the Chiefs for having one of the hardest Super Bowl runs we've ever seen. But this season, we have to talk about how this may have been one of the luckiest 15-2 seasons for Chiefs Kingdom and one of the unluckiest for their opponents. First and foremost, the Chiefs joined an elite club of 15-win teams. Even though with the 17-game season, they were able to hit that mark with 2 losses, becoming the first team with a 15-2 record, joining Detroit from this year as well. But let's talk about the numbers of these historic 15 wins the Chiefs were able to accomplish this season. Because although the Chiefs and Lions both tallied 15 wins, the Lions had 28 more touchdowns on the year than KC, and they outscored their opponents by 222 points on the year, and the Chiefs were sitting at a positive 59 points, the worst point differential for a 14-win team in NFL history. So the Chiefs offense wasn't lighting up the scoreboard all season long, as they had scored just 22 points per game. And Mahomes had the fewest passing yards and touchdowns that he's had in any season of his career, and the Chiefs were still able to win the most games in franchise history. Only 3 teams didn't score over 30 points in a single game this season, and the Chiefs were one of them. The other 2 teams were the Raiders and Patriots, who both finished with a 4-13 record, while the Chiefs were on the opposite end of the spectrum despite the similarities. And the Chiefs only had more total points than 3 other playoff teams, but those teams they outscored all had 7 or more losses on the season. So somehow the numbers fit better alongside 4-13 teams than they do with playoff teams, and are certainly different from a team that finished with the same 15-2 record. Take the Bengals, for example, who had a similar point differential this season. However, since he finished with 8 losses and are watching the playoffs from home, while the Chiefs made it out with a bye in the playoffs. A big reason is that Mahomes and the Chiefs live for the clutch, or what we could call luck, moments this season, with 11 of their 15 wins being decided by a single score. That's like flipping a coin and it landing on heads every time, which we'll get more into coin flips later. But Mahomes led the Chiefs to 5 fourth-quarter comebacks and 7 game-winning drives, which is now tied for the 3rd most in single-season history, a number of game-winning drives that Mahomes has never come near in the past. And as far as their opponents go, the Chiefs did play 9 games against teams that eventually made the playoffs and went 7-2 in those games, with their last loss being one where starters weren't in the game. But now that we have laid out the comparisons to other teams from this season, let's take a look at what led us to these moments. It started out in the first game of the season where Isaiah Likely caught a touchdown pass that would have given the Ravens an option to go for the win, but the toe of Likely appeared to be just on the line out of bounds and the play was reversed. Then the very next week on 4th and 16 and under a minute remaining in the game, the Chiefs are saved on a late pass interference call as the Bengals player was making a play on the ball. While certainly questionable, the Chiefs had the luck for the call go their way. And the same goes for week 3 when they weren't called for an obvious pass interference on a game-winning touchdown attempt by the Falcons that would have given them a new set of downs from the 1. Later, the referee admitted that due to the angle, he couldn't tell that it was pass interference at the time. And then do you remember that coin flip that I told you about? Well, against the Buccaneers, the Chiefs graciously won the overtime coin flip that allowed them to win the game by scoring on their drive without Tampa Bay ever having a chance at winning themselves. Then the Chiefs are once again looking in the eyes of a loss when the Broncos have a 35-yard field goal to win the game, and the Denver win probability rises to over 80%. And with teams averaging less than 1 blocked kick per season, the Chiefs get theirs on a game-winning attempt. Then while in field goal range and only down 2 points, the Raiders look at a 70% chance of winning according to ESPN analytics, and they happen to fumble a snap that the Chiefs are able to recover. And then lastly, in week 14, the Chiefs' 3rd string kicker, who had been on 4 different teams in the year, comes in and doinks a game-winning kick off the uprights, and it still happens to go in against the Chargers. So every one of these instances could have gone the other way, and the Chiefs could be out of the playoffs like the Bengals. But by luck, they actually have a first-round bye in the playoffs with the chance at three-peating on the line. This season by the Chiefs has been one of the luckiest I can remember, but let me know if there's a season where more happened in favor of one team.